Hi guys, welcome to the fourth episode of my Relay Computer video series. Now, when I first started working on my Relay computer, one of the first things I had to design was the computer's architecture. A computer architecture in simple terms is like a building's blueprint. It shows you what all components are present inside the machine. It shows you how all of them are connected and how data flows inside the processor. I decided that my Relay computer would be an 8-bit processor. So I started extensively looking into the computer architectures of other commercial 8-bit processors such as the Intel 8085, the 6502 and the Z80. Finally, this is what I came up with. This is the architecture of my Relay computer. Like any other computer, it can be subdivided into three sections. You have memory, the arithmetic and logic unit, and the control unit. Let me take you through them one at a time. So let's focus on the memory section first. My Relay computer consists of 6 memory registers, 5 of which are 8 bits wide, that is, they can store 8 bits of information at a time. The 6th register is the instruction register, which can store 5 bits of information at a time. Apart from these registers, you have the program memory. The program memory of my computer can store 256 bytes of data at a time. And this is where the software or the program is stored in my computer. Now, while we are executing programs, we need to copy data from one register to another, or copy data from the program memory to the register, or vice versa. To facilitate those data transfers, all the memory blocks are connected together via an 8-bit data bus. A processor is not designed just to store data. We need to do mathematical operations on that data as well. And for that, we have the arithmetic and logic unit. The arithmetic and logic unit of my computer is 8 bits wide, and it does mathematical operations on its 2 inputs. One of the inputs comes from the B register, and the other input comes from a multiplexer, which allows you to choose between the program counter and the A register. After computing the result, the ALU stores its result into the temporary register and also updates status flags. The flag register stores the status flag, and each flag stores some special information about the result that was computed. The 3 status flags are the sign flag, the carry flag and the 0 flag. The sign flag is set to 1 if the result computed was a negative number. The carry flag is set to 1 if the computed result was 9 bits wide, that is, it could not be stored in 8 bits. And the 0 flag is set to 1 if the computed result was 0. The final section of my Relay computer is the control unit. Now, the various blocks in the arithmetic and logic section and the memory section all contain their own set of control lines. And these control lines dictate what operation each block is going to do and when it is going to do that operation. Now, since we have a lot of blocks, we have a lot of control lines, and these control lines need to be orchestrated in a specific way to execute a larger operation. And this whole orchestration is done by the instruction decoder. Now, in order to operate the control lines in a specific sequence, the instruction decoder first needs to know what operation needs to be done. And it knows that by receiving an opcode from the instruction register. Each operation in my Relay computer can take from 10 to 14 steps. So the instruction decoder also needs to know which step is currently being executed and which step needs to be executed next. And it knows that using the finite state machine, which is a simple step counter. Apart from receiving inputs from the instruction register and the finite state machine, the instruction decoder also receives inputs from the status flag for conditional operations. This is the physical layout of my Relay computer. What I've done here is I have designed the circuits in a way to accommodate everything onto 3 wooden panels. One for the memory unit, the second for the arithmetic and logic unit, and the third for the control unit. In the upcoming episodes, I'll reveal what each circuit does one at a time, and I'll take you through the circuit schematic and the PCB layout of each and every circuit board. Till then, if you like the content so far, you could like, share and subscribe. If you got any doubts, put it in the comment section. I'll try my best to answer them, and I'll see you in the next episode.